All right. Good afternoon or evening, partial evening, everyone. We're going to get started. This is the work session for Thursday, May 16th, in preparation for regular council meeting for the 20th of May. Did want to start off by saying, you know, May is the time of month where a lot of activity goes on for everyone, from graduation to needing to make sure certain job functionalities and travels take place and piling. So we typically in the month of May have some outages due to individuals having to make those different meetings. So I did want to make sure I established that format on that end. We have one council member that's running a little bit late with traffic. With that being said, we'll start off. I know the mayor has roughly 4 or 5 presentations on Monday, and Ken, our city administrator, will be giving a presentation on Amwaste. If you can recall, we had much discussion last go around on what's the path forward with so many of our community members experiencing issues with garbage pickup as it relates to we have won the bid on the last go around, and Ken and his team has worked real hard to see what path forward we can take as it relates to Amwaste. So I'll be quiet and ask Ken to comment.
All right. Thank you, Council. I know Mr. Swiney's on the way, and we'll repeat this again Monday, obviously. So tonight's really just kind of to get the discussion going for Monday, and then we'll have the official record in the action. But it's extremely frustrating this past several months, and really since I have arrived, we've had challenges with our solid waste pickup. And so I don't think anybody's here tonight yet. I'm not sure if Rick's coming tonight or coming Monday, Rick Swiney. But with Amwaste, you know, they are contracted through our Solid Waste Authority, which is the CABA Solid Waste Disposal Authority. And I do want to point out that Blake Miller here on our staff is the chairman of that authority. And so we had a meeting last week, last Wednesday? It all runs together. Last Wednesday, and the members of the authority were there almost in whole, so everyone had representation from the communities, and a lot of common complaints from our other cities. You know, there were frustrations with a variety of missed pickups, there were a variety of fuel leak questions, and on and on and on. Specifically, you know, some of the common were with us, but no one had this type of numbers and quantity of missed pickups and missed neighborhood streets, etc., due to the route management and the route changes, especially since March 25th is when everything kind of kicked back in. So coming from the holiday season where we had that, then with March 25th is significant just as a reminder because we had the change in routes eliminating Wednesday, Saturday pickup in our city. And that's where in Middlebrooks, Hoover, Pelham, that date is significant. So what we've got tonight is the public expenses that we have calculated out, tied to a variety of city levels of service that we have done with our staff, trying to support this contractor that is not fully fulfilled their contract in our city. So if you go to the next slide, do you do it or I do it? Okay. So as an example, a reminder, now we're going on this, if you'll notice, from March 25th, which is a Monday, through Friday, April 26th. That gives us roughly a month. And so if you see on your screen or on your chart that we've handed you there, the 2138 is the number of reported missed pickups. Very important that we talk about reported because there is significant data in what not only you all have sent us as council when residents reach out to you, but what we've been getting through my office, the mayor's office, you guys, and the My Hoover Connect. And so the reported is key because so many say my entire neighborhood, my entire street. And in many cases, we'll get a text or something and we'll look and there's no report on an entire street, but it was missed. So what we have is the reported misses through My Hoover Connect. And that's the only way we can kind of really gauge the data, but we've created a way to show you and document what that value is in public resources. So if you notice also, we expect service to reach that 99.9% level. That is an expectation. I think that we understand there will be things happen, there'll be trucks break down, drivers, whatever, delayed, weather. But in this case, that would average around $229 a month. So that's what we have been getting in many months prior, and I don't have that right in front of me, but for the last several years through the contract. So where we're at in this window of 1 month, over 2,138 reported missed pickups, which is the curbside and back door. All right, next slide. So what we divided is our public resources into 3 areas: operations, call center, and management. On the operations side, this is really our staff that's actually out in the field. This is the staff that learn to drive vehicles and do more with trash, learn more of the routes of the city. So heavily public works and a variety of other individuals mixed in through the month. But with operations, that basically is where we responded, and we put assets into that. Not only when they would do that, that means they're not doing the things they normally would do on that day. Okay, so if they're supposed to go build something, cut grass, fix a ditch, it wasn't happening because they were picking up trash. Along the line, call center, the city clerk's office has been overwhelmed, and the entire staff, and I'll look at Cynthia just to nod if you've been overwhelmed. Okay, so everybody see that? I just want you to know, because she's too tired to nod. It has created a ripple effect that then exploded, because the problem is there was a lot of lack of service when they would reach out through the company, and they had to come directly back to the city. So, did we come in yet? No. So with that, call center is what basically the clerk's office became for that period of the last month, since March 25th. And so with that, you can see some of the tasks there that they specifically do. But even at the end, and what we're currently doing is John Hudson is really running the My Hoover Connect. He's actually gotten to where he's identifying routes that are the problems and showing Amwaste, here are your problems, as almost what a route manager would do. So it's even to that level where we're solving a lot of their issues for them. And then the management is a whole variety of management, many of which are in this room, that is just consuming on certain days, and it just takes your time. And it just takes everything from managing the problem with all of the issues to really funneling all the complaints that are not going straight to My Hoover Connect, and then dealing with the aftermath of trying to check streets, follow up neighborhoods, etc. So, all right, we'll go to the next slide. So we divided into 3 categories. This is the operational division. And so basically, if you take what we have done in this month, from a cost standpoint, labor-wise, I will say that on March 25th, when that started, we didn't really hit the streets that week. The calls started rising and the complaints began to come, and the trash was not being picked up. But we didn't really hit the streets, but we have the day-by-day, hour-by-hour, how many hours they served. Now, the large truck came along, if you remember, a little bit later. I don't remember the specific date. Do you remember? March or April. So around April 10th. And so when we got that on loan and began to learn how to operate. So really, that's why this number is somewhat lower. But at the end of the day, a lot of response was had as you got to the end of that month period by running our large truck and small truck. And so you've got the capital asset purchase, which is a one-time purchase. We would not have had to buy that asset had we not been in this situation. And so this is a unique tool. And it is one of those that, frankly, on this, that is a deal because that number could have been substantially higher had we gone out and bought from more of a retailer instead of one of the neighboring cities just to get that truck. So when you tie that in, that's the operational. All right, next slide. And you see on the bottom of that when we were using the FEMA rates for the value of the trucks, that's the most common way that government will use to match up. And I think that's something like $65 an hour or so. All right, this is the call center, and this is an example of the staff time and some data that our staff has come up with on dealing with a ticket. So when you think of a missed pickup ticket, they average around 16 minutes per ticket. And that's straight from what the staff has responded back. And we've calculated that out based on how the time would flow, how the number of missed tickets would rise on certain days, and where it would become all-consuming for them. And they were dealing with everything from not only the actual tickets going into the system, They were dealing with walk-ins, calls, texts, emails, much. I think probably if Casey was here, I'd give him the award for the most emails sent to us. Many of you sent them, but Casey has a lot that have come in. And so it's just the nature of how they get funneled and what takes. So you see the time involved. And so that number equates to the grand total at the bottom, $22,690. Next slide. On the management side, back to variety of the services. Now, this is where we've created a sliding scale. Now, the importance of this slide is that we will present as the city of Hoover to the Cahaba Solid Waste Authority through Blake. We will present that this may be a good way to begin to create a fine or recoup of public dollars system for everyone to participate, because it's based on percentages of missed pickups in your particular town. So if you expect 99.9%, if you expect 99%, then it gives you a way that you can calculate out based on your value of what that hour of service is and then how the missed pickups work. The number there that's the breakdown of how we believe that we would calculate out for this. And so that has been cumulative total, and so you end up with the value there that you see. And that's the rate of 99.06 is where we ended up for that level if you take this scale. All right, next. Here's the summary of all those put together. That does include the purchase of the asset, the $70,000, one-time purchase, and that is the total. So for this month period, this is the way we've calculated this out. We will pass this to Amwaste. Now, I think it's item 16, Mr. Chairman, that we have a resolution that come Monday, we'll be asking the council to give us the authority to then create this recouping of the public dollars. I like the recouping because we have spent it. We have put that time, energy, and money out there. The contract exists. We're also paying their bill. So one of the things now is we're expecting to try to get this to where we come to an agreement, their service level rises, and then hopefully for the next month period, we won't have these operational costs in those three divisions as high, and hopefully it will begin to wane off and we'll get some strategic movement to get us a high level of service. This is about the only way it can be done. I think in listening in the Cahaba Solid Waste Authority, that was a discussion of how do we create a sliding scale like this that would fit all of our cities, because some are much smaller than us. But as the largest in the authority, I think this is a good guide. No, does that sound good to you, Blake? Yes. We talked about this earlier, so that would be hopefully the way that we'll present it to them. So on Monday, that's what this action is, and it's very unique to this challenge because it's a crisis if we don't get it fixed. Now, they do have some challenges, and we're waiting on them to fix that. I think I had communicated that from the last meetings. I was hoping that there would be an immediate response, and it is improving. Did you say that, Cynthia? As of this week, there is improvement compared to last week with where we were from all of those very challenging discussions for them. But we're not at the level that we will be where we're not putting out a bill and cutting that off their payment.
Okay, thank you so much, and we will not go over 16 on the consent agenda because it was covered. And just thanks to the city and mayor's office for listening to a lot of our residents. The question I will have: do we have anything that we're putting out? I know we utilize social media quite a bit, but how can we ensure our community know the level of work that's being done?
I think that when we step past this opportunity, which is kind of creating a way that we can kind of gain the public money and the resources back, if we get to this point, and then we see this continued improvement into next week, I think there's a plan. They actually committed a huge public outreach campaign on a variety of things of how to properly place your can, and how to really make the routes flow better, and different things that will help that they can do as citizens. But also our message has to be reporting, because you can see the importance of reporting the misses. And I know that's difficult because we calculated that's about 8 minutes of time by the time you log in and go through the steps to report for someone that does it very slowly. So
do we currently have anything that we're communicating to residents that we were working on this issue, this level of effort. That's just my only.
It's been in the news quite a bit.
Okay.
I can't tell you how many people have said, I saw you on the news talking about trash.
Okay. All right.
So the answer is there will be a lot more, and I think this is a turning point where it's a significant deduction of the use of those public resources has been made.
Okay.
And we expect that to be made right. So moving forward now, we can make it more positive. How do we work as a team?
All right.
On the subject of reporting accuracy, I understand that the number that you're reflected there is the number of individual reports that we've had. Having used the system myself, I know that when you go in, there's an option to click, this is just for my house, this is for my whole street, this is for my whole neighborhood, or I don't know. Those are the options that you get. Is there a way to mine that data and get more accurate numbers by judging what, entire streets and entire neighborhoods? Because we know sometimes, a smaller number of people may report, but we have hundreds of houses that represents.
I think that we have identified through what was said in the meeting, Cahaba Solid Waste meeting, Amwaste has identified internally, what was the number? Something like, we know where 65% of the missed pickups have come from the sheer number of routes, which told them back to driver, route manager problem that we've been talking about for months. I think for us, we definitely know where the repeat offenders are as far as the missed pickup streets. And that's been very consistent. I know you've asked, Casey's asked, and others. And so we've made that very clear that there are certain streets, they get missed every week. The ripple effect that's happened with this, with our recycling efforts, is that our recycling is the second pickup of the week. Well, if you're not even getting one pickup a week, there is no recycling. So that's a difficult thing moving forward in how we deal with it. So, and you really can't remediate that until you get to 2 pickups a week on the day you're supposed to be picked up. We also realize there are a lot of neighborhoods in Hoover that have very strong HOA POAs that require cans to come in. Well, that's created challenges because now the HOAs are wanting to find their residents that may get missed on certain streets, but yet we're telling them, we're sending people, we're trying to get Amwaste out there to pick up their trash. It's just got many ripple effects that should not happen, that we as government should not be dealing with. Again, they're a logistical company. These are logistics. And I think they can fix it. And I feel like we definitely know that corporate has seen that because last week they were here. So we hope that corporate Amwaste will make all the resources available to fix this and get this settled so we can move forward in a positive way.
All right. The only thing I'll add to that, this gives the authorization to the mayor's office to negotiate penalties with said entity on Monday.
I believe that's correct.
Okay. And if we can, it'd be great to have a 30-day update on the success of this in our
I think
council.
we'll be giving you another bill.
That's fine, but
We'll
if
be
we
showing you another bill that we're deducting once we get to the
Right.
negotiation of this.
right, but if we give a 30-day update as a part of the council meetings,
Right.
that'll be helpful.
And just to clarify that, that's where the way we're working this is because of the relationship with the Cahaba Solid Waste
Right.
Authority and the member cities that are in that.
All right. Thank you. All right, another presentation will be given on Monday is a stormwater update for the city. Mayor office will be given that on Monday as well too. Payment of the bills. Of course, we have minutes. It'll be introduced. All right, 3 through 6. Jennifer, Jihad.
Yes, so item number 3 is a resolution authorizing the city of Hoover to participate in the back to school sales tax holiday. That is going to run from Friday, July 19th until midnight on Sunday, July 21st. But the reason why we're asking for this now is that the Alabama Department of Revenue wants our agreement back to them by the middle of June. So, any questions on that one?
No. Any questions? Council. All right. Number 4.
And then number 4 is about a bid, adding a sidewalk. You want to talk about that?
Absolutely. In fiscal year 22, council approved 2 sidewalk projects, one on Alcea Road and one on Sulphur Springs Road. Since they're located in the same area and they connect, staff agreed that we needed to combine those two projects together for design, bidding, and construction purposes. So along Sulphur Springs Road, the sidewalk will run from on the west side of the road from Alcere down the Preserve Parkway. On Alcere Road will be located on the north side of the road, will run from Sulphur Springs Road to Shades Mountain Park. No, we did have to acquire several right-of-way tracks and temporary construction easements. So that's why this project has been delayed for the last 2 years. So we're excited to finally have this at a bid stage. We did open bids for the project here at City Hall on May 9th. We received 5 bids. After reviewing the bids, staff recommends awarding the bid to CB&A Construction LLC, who is the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, in the amount of $414,535.54. The contract time for this project is 120 calendar days. The project is currently budgeted and no additional funds are required.
Have we worked with this vendor before, contractor?
We have not. They are located in Hoover.
Okay, awesome.
Yes, sir, they are. They've bid on several of our projects the past 3 or 4 years, and they've never been low bidder. They have done projects for different municipalities around us. They just never worked for us yet.
Right. Well, I want to commend the city. I've had a lot of great comments of the roads that are being paved. I know we had a conversation early on, and maybe even last year. Any workforce-related issues, not issues, but support that this council can support on would be greatly appreciated in the budget time if you guys need some more help, because paving streets is a task within itself, along with operating a plan and other things you guys have to do. So
Yes, sir.
but with a lot of positive energy around paving projects in the city. Any questions from the council? All right. 5 and 6 are budget updates.
I'm gonna take 5. Legal services. So we're asking a budget amendment on Monday. This is related to the firm that's handling our certificate of need. They were selected and have been working through the 2023 year, obviously, as the Hoover Healthcare Authority began that process. Once the application began and all the things in motion with not only the Riverwalk project, but ultimately then the certificate of need for the ambulatory surgical center, that getting in motion. All of those costs, what this budget amendment includes is the current bills that have accrued. So that is money that we are not in budget. So we went well beyond what was budgeted last year. Neither myself nor the CFO can tell you exactly why the budget numbers were set the number they were, but most of this came out of the Economic Development Department's budget as the project moved on. So then, the future, we finally now have an estimate from the legal team that's representing us, and that is because we were opposed. Had we not been opposed, yesterday we would have been in Montgomery testifying and hopefully walking out with a CON very soon, and the numbers would have been lower. However, that is not the case, so due to the opposition of the CON, we are now having to ask for this budget amendment, and we wanted to wait until we had the current accrued bills that have already come from the last several months, and then fast forward to the estimate, because he didn't know if it was unopposed or opposed. And if you remember the day that the deadline was there, we thought it was unopposed, but then that one came in 15 minutes before. So that is why that will be a substantial increase of close to $200,000 more with the opposition.
Okay.
And that's a bit of a problem of using public resources, but it is money that is specific to this firm.
All right. Any questions from the council?
Yes, I'd like to move this from consent agenda to regular agenda, and I'd also like a chance to get together, get more details. I understand we're trying to get this done with the CON, and I completely understand that. I just need some more information, that's all.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. City clerk, please make note that number 5 be moved to the regular agenda and removed from consent. Any additional questions from council? All right, number 6.
Yes, sir. We are asking to reallocate some remaining sanitary sewer capital project funds from 4 projects that have been completed. Amounts $234,744 to the sanitary sewer operating budget. for the Inverness and River Chase wastewater treatment plant. They say ask us to approve moving sanitary sewer money from one account basically to another. There's no new funds involved, and these are sanitary sewer funds that are not allowed to be spent on anything else. This money is needed to cover several pump replacements, some engineering costs that are needed for some needed improvements that we need to act on right away, and additional operating costs that are needed to support both the Inverness and River Chase wastewater treatment plants.
All right, any questions from the council? All right, thank you. Number 7, Dustin. All right,
Yes, sir. Good evening, council.
evening.
We got a list of 12 vehicles, with 2 of which are risk totals. The other 10 are past their service life. And just recommending that we you have them disposed by auction or sell to other surrounding agencies.
Any questions from the council? All right, moving along. Number 8, Greg Knight.
Yes, sir. Good evening, council.
Good evening.
So I'm here to talk to you tonight about OHD, Occupational Health Dynamics, which is a leading global manufacturer, provider of medical and occupational safety equipment, including respirator testing devices, that's located right here in Hoover. They are currently in a leased space on John Hawkins Parkway and have 37 employees, but their goal is to expand in Hoover and add 14 new employees. They'd be moving to Middlebrook. The project qualifies for statutory incentives under the 1992 Tax Incentive Reform Act. This is something that our council has worked with many times before for projects like McCloud Software and BioChris and BioHorizons. And it will help in buying the property and investing in the renovation and build out of their new office space. So assuming that the real and personal property tax values increase by $500,000 as listed in the abatement application, the benefit to Hoover City Schools will be an average of $10,548 a year. And even though this is already on the tax rolls, it'll be net new revenue to the schools of $25,000 over 10 years. There'll be over 300,000 or over 20, excuse my tongue-tied, nearly $3,000 in fees for the city for building permits that are tied to the $300,000 in commercial renovation to the building. And then the project would add 14 new jobs with an average wage of $72,857 unloaded. So strong jobs, strong wages for our community. Under the abatements that the council's being asked to consider, the total for over a 10-year period for sales and use tax and for property tax for the city is just $39,000. And then there's the county and the state rolled into it, which would bring the value of their abatements all the way up to $100,911. So council, our office heartily recommends that you approve this. This is a growth sector. Life sciences and medical devices are a sector that our industry target on is in economic development. And Middlebrook is an area that our comp plan calls for revitalization with these sorts of companies, and we're thrilled to have an empty building filled in Middlebrook. Any questions I can take for you?
Any questions from the council? All right,
Thank
you so much. All right, number 9 through 15 is Mac Martin. So, a lot of weed nuisance related issues.
Yes, sir. Good evening. It is that time of year, and we have a number of overgrown yards that we are bringing to your attention for nuisance declaration. Each one of these locations in items 9 through 13 on the agenda. Each one of those locations is overgrown at present. Of course, between now and Monday night, we will have another round to where we go and check each of these properties to ensure that whether or not somebody has gone and done the good work of cutting the lawn between now and then. So we'll have an update for you Monday night on each of these locations.
Any questions? Question from the council, 9 to 13. All right, number 14.
All right, 14 and 15, those items are taken in tandem. An ordinance to amend the Inverness Planned Unit Development and rezone approximately 24 acres from PO Planned Office to PC Planned Commercial with conditions. And that's immediately followed by the resolution for the conditional use. The purpose of these two items is to get the zoning entitlements in place to allow for a mixed-use development on the site. The mixed-use component comprising of a maximum of 300 units of multifamily residential on the rear of the property, as well as retail and restaurant and office uses on the front of the property along Inverness Parkway. Staff recommended to the Planning Commission approval of this item, given that this particular part of the office park is a little quiet these days, and this particular use of the property seems to be a higher and better use than what we've realized up to this point, and may infuse some much needed life into this office park. In formulating our recommendation, we did check with the school system. This is in the Spain Park feeder pattern, and the school system informed us that they do have the ability to handle any children that may be produced by this site in that particular feeder pattern. Based on our recommendation, the Planning Commission took up the item and also recommends approval of both of these items, the PUD amendment and the conditional use. I'll be glad to handle any questions you may have.
Any questions for the council?
Any chance the developer's here?
I don't see a representative here tonight.
You think they'll be here next week?
They will be.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Perhaps I missed, how many units are they planning?
A maximum of 300, and within that, there's a cap of 10%, 3 or more bedroom. The 90% of the project will be 1 and 2 bedroom.
Has a traffic study been done?
It has, and they have agreed as part of the Planned Unit Development Amendment to institute the changes that the traffic study calls for.
Okay. Will we see the traffic study on Monday?
Should be a part of the packet. If
Part
it's
of the
not,
presentation?
we can certainly get it to you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Any additional questions? All right. Next item, the first readings, 17 through 20, weed abatement related matters.
Yes, sir. We have 4 resolutions before you. These are properties that already have been declared a nuisance by this body, and as of today are still non-compliant. And therefore, we ask that we move forward with resolutions to abate these nuisances. This is a first reading. We'll have a second reading and a public hearing, and we'll be sure to, again, go out and check on each of these sites to see if somebody out of the goodness of their heart has gone ahead and cut these issues. But if not, we'll be back for the abatement.
Just to be clear, you said these came prior to the council before, and someone did go out and cut them, so they're pulled, so they're back again, same address. Is that what you're saying?
No, sir. These you guys declared these nuisances.
Okay.
And now we're coming to you. They're still nuisances.
Okay.
And we're coming with abatement.
I got you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any questions from the council? All right, number 21. Who was, Jim? All right, I didn't see a name by it, so. Well, it's on the second page.
Yes, this is an annual requirement for this body to agree that we're going to levy the municipal taxes for the city.
All right, any questions for the council? All right, no questions. We shall, well, I did want to mention Craig Kelly passed school board member, president a couple of times, 10 years on the school board as a local. Well, I mean, he has a few more days, I guess. But I really want to say I appreciate everything you have done over 10 years. A lot of things in the school system has occurred. You've been a part of a lot of that, including RC3 and everything that goes along with that. So I hate I was not able to make your make the event. I had a work obligation, but maybe we can go back and grab some food. You won't be a public official, so you can take it now, right? It's de minimis.
Yeah,
We can raise it to $21 versus 20.
I'm gonna harass the council.
All right. Any questions for the council in closing? All right, meeting adjourned.